The medical bay of the Galactic Coalition flagship Elysian was too clean, too quiet. The walls glowed with a soft blue light, smooth and seamless like frozen glass. Machines hummed in perfect rhythm, their lights blinking with alien precision. The air smelled of metal, disinfectant, and cold. Captain Aaron Voss lay on a table in the center of the room. His chest burned where shrapnel had torn through him during the last battle. He could still remember the explosion, the blinding flash, the pain, and the darkness that followed. When he woke up, he was here, surrounded by beings who didn't speak his language but claimed to be his allies. Hovering beside him was Dr. Sarai Neith, the Coalition's top xenomedical specialist. She was tall and slender, her skin pale silver with faint blue veins that pulsed like light underwater. Her face was calm and expressionless, but her eyes, large, liquid, and reflective, always carried a quiet intelligence. Aaron trusted her once. She had saved his life before, twice, maybe 3 times. Every human officer on the Elysian owed her something, but this time something felt different. "Easy, Captain," Sarai said in her soft, melodic voice. "You suffered internal trauma. The nanobots are repairing what they can. You must stay still." Aaron tried to sit up anyway, but she gently pressed him back. Her hands were cold like smooth metal. "Just rest. The scanner will begin soon." He forced a small grin. "You know humans don't like lying around while others poke at us, Doc." Her lips twitched, the closest thing to a smile her species ever gave. "You humans also don't like dying, and yet you keep finding ways to do it." Aaron chuckled weakly, but the pain shot through his ribs. He sucked in a sharp breath. "All right, fine. Do your scan." Sarai nodded and turned to the main console. Strange symbols floated in midair, glowing green and white. She moved her fingers through them, typing gestures and patterns Aaron couldn't follow. The overhead machine, a wide circular scanner, descended until it hovered inches above his chest. A soft hum filled the air. Thin beams of silver light began to sweep across his body. At first it felt like warmth, soothing, comfortable. But after a moment the light grew hotter, burning slightly against his skin. Aaron frowned. "Is it supposed to hurt?" Sarai didn't reply. Her attention was fixed on the display. Her eyes flicked rapidly, scanning lines of alien data. "Doctor?" Still no answer. Aaron looked around. The bay's doors were sealed. Normally there were med drones or assistants floating around, but now it was just the 2 of them. The silence grew heavy. Even the hum of the ship outside felt distant, like the sound was being swallowed. He shifted slightly on the table. The lights above him flared. A thin metal ring snapped around his wrists and ankles. "Hey, what's this?" He struggled, but the restraints held firm. "Sarai, what the hell are you doing?" Finally she turned to him. Her expression was unreadable. "Don't move," she said quietly. Her voice wasn't the calm tone of a doctor anymore. It was sharper. A warning. Aaron froze. "What's going on?" Sarai walked slowly toward the console again, her hands trembling just a little. "Please, stay still." But Aaron could see something in her eyes now, fear. Not for him, but of something else. Something unseen. The scanner's light intensified. Tiny threads of silver energy spread over his chest, crawling up toward his throat like living veins. He could feel them beneath his skin, moving, searching. "Sarai," he shouted. "This isn't treatment."
"Turn it off!"
She didn't. Her voice was barely a whisper. "They told me it was just to stabilize you." "Who's they?" She didn't answer. Aaron strained against the restraints, his muscles tensing. "If this is some coalition experiment, stop," she hissed, suddenly rushing to his side. She pressed a hand on his shoulder, her eyes wide. "If you move, it will burn through your spine." He froze again, breathing hard. The heat under his ribs grew stronger, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. It felt like something was waking up inside him. Sarai's gaze darted between him and the display. "This isn't right." "The readings—" She broke off, whispering something in her own language. The console flickered, projecting an image of his chest, a glowing pattern that looked like a circuit made of blood and light. "What is that?" Aaron demanded. She looked at him with something close to pity. "It's on part of you." "What do you mean, part of me?" She didn't reply. The machine above him gave a sharp pulse. A sudden shock went through his body and Aaron gasped. Memories flashed behind his eyes. Earth burning, soldiers screaming, the sound of orbital cannons. Then something deeper, an echo, a voice that wasn't his own whispering from somewhere inside his skull. "Do not let them take it." He blinked, gasping for air. Sarai, what was that? She looked pale now, her silver skin almost white. They said it was a medical scan. They lied. They're extracting something? Extracting what? She hesitated, glancing toward the sealed door. Your neural lattice. The human defense code. The one hidden in your DNA. Aaron stared at her, stunned. That's impossible. That was just a myth. She shook her head slowly. Not anymore. The scanner suddenly shifted tone. The soft hum became a deep mechanical growl. The lights in the bay dimmed. On the far wall, symbols appeared. Coalition security seals, authorization codes flashing red. Someone had remotely locked the system. Sarai's hands flew over the console, trying to override it. They're taking control, she said. Who is? The High Command. They want what's inside you. Aaron's heart pounded. So that's it. I'm not a patient, I'm a data mine. The machine's light deepened to crimson. Aaron felt electricity crawl under his skin. His vision blurred. He tried to speak, but his jaw locked. His muscles convulsed as energy surged through him. Sarai screamed something and slammed her fist against the emergency cutoff. Nothing happened. System override, said a cold, artificial voice from the speakers. Extraction in progress. Aaron's breath came in ragged gasps. Sarai, please. Her silver fingers moved faster, trying to pull power cables free, but the machine resisted. If I shut it down too fast, it'll kill you. He laughed weakly, the sound breaking into a cough. If you don't, they'll kill me anyway. For a moment, their eyes met. She looked almost human, scared, desperate, guilty. Then she made a decision. She grabbed a nearby laser scalpel and sliced open the access panel on the scanner. Sparks flew. She reached inside and ripped out a glowing shard of crystal. The scanner screamed, its light flickering violently. Aaron shouted in pain as the restraints released. He rolled off the table, hitting the cold floor. His body trembled from the shock, but he forced himself to stand. Smoke filled the air. The scanner sparked and died. For a few seconds, only the sound of the ship's systems rebooting echoed in the bay. Aaron's vision steadied. On the floor near the ruined scanner lay a small glass capsule. Inside it floated a holographic shape, his own neural pattern glowing faintly, pulsing with the rhythm of a heartbeat. They already took part of it, Sarai said quietly. Before I stopped it, Aaron stared at the capsule. What do they plan to do with it? She didn't answer right away. They think your kind hid something powerful in your genes, something that could control AI systems. They want to extract it and use it to command the fleets. And you? He asked. What do you want? Sarai's eyes dimmed. To make sure they don't destroy you in the process. Footsteps echoed outside the sealed door. Voices shouted in the Coalition's harsh mechanical language. They're coming, Aaron said. Sarai nodded. You can't fight them now. You're too weak. She handed him a small injector. This will stabilize your body for a few hours. After that, I don't know. He looked at her, uncertain. Why help me? You're one of them. She turned away. Because once I believed the Coalition cared about peace. But today I saw what they really are. The door controls flashed red, security override in progress. They had seconds. Sarai grabbed his arm, pulling him toward a maintenance hatch behind the operating table. Go, it leads to the service tunnels. I'll delay them. What about you? She gave a faint smile. They'll believe I destroyed the sample. Aaron hesitated. Sarai, thank you. She met his eyes. Don't thank me yet, run. He climbed into the narrow tunnel just as the main doors burst open. Armed guards stormed the room, shouting. Through the crack, he saw Sarai raise her hands in surrender, her voice calm. Then the tunnel sealed shut. Aaron crawled through the dark, his body aching, his mind racing. The pain in his chest had changed. It wasn't just pain anymore. It was warmth. Alive, pulsing like a second heart. He didn't understand what they had taken, but he could feel it. The missing piece calling to him, and deep inside his head, that strange voice whispered again. They have your code. Retrieve it. Humanity must awaken. Aaron stopped crawling. For the first time since the fall of Earth, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Purpose. He clenched his fists and kept moving through the darkness. The service tunnels under the Elysian were dark, narrow, and filled with the low hum of the ship's systems. Captain Aaron Voss moved through the metallic maze, his hands brushing against warm pipes as he crawled. His chest still hurt from the failed procedure, and his body felt heavy, but his mind was sharper than ever. He couldn't stop hearing that voice inside his head, deep, echoing, and human. They have your code. Retrieve it. Humanity must awaken. He didn't know what it meant. But every time it spoke, he felt power move through him, like static electricity under his skin. He stopped crawling when the tunnel opened into a small chamber. A faint red glow came from the conduits on the wall. He sat there for a moment, catching his breath. His uniform was torn, his ribs ached, but he was alive. He thought of Dr. Sarai Neath, the alien doctor who had saved him. Again. She could have let him die. She could have given him up to the Coalition without a word. But she hadn't. She had risked her life to stop the procedure. Aaron clenched his fists. They used her too, he muttered. Just like they used me. He needed to find a way out of the medical sector and reach the data core. If Sarai was right, the Coalition already had a fragment of his neural lattice, something built into his DNA. If they managed to decode it, they could use it to control entire AI fleets. That couldn't happen. Not again. Not after what they did to Earth. He took a deep breath, then crawled out of the chamber into a lower corridor. The passage here was wider, built for maintenance drones. It was dimly lit, the floor trembling faintly under his boots. Somewhere above him, the ship's main engines pulsed like a massive heartbeat. Aaron moved quickly, keeping low. Every few seconds he heard distant sounds, voices, mechanical footsteps, the sharp buzz of drones searching. He rounded a corner and froze. A maintenance drone hovered in front of him. It was spherical, small, and armed with a scanning laser that swept the corridor in a grid pattern. Aaron pressed himself against the wall and held his breath. The beam passed a few centimeters from his face, then moved on. The drone turned and floated down another tunnel. He exhaled slowly. Still human, still lucky, he whispered. He continued forward until he reached a control panel at a junction. The panel glowed faintly with blue light. Aaron knelt beside it, brushing off dust. It was written in the Coalition's alien script, swirling lines that looked like moving vines. He couldn't read it, but he remembered Sarai teaching him the basics months ago, back when things were simpler. He tapped a few icons, guessing. The screen blinked red. Then a small schematic appeared, a map of the ship. Deck 9. Data storage, he murmured. That's where it'll be. He needed to get there before the Coalition finished whatever they were doing with his neural pattern. As he studied the screen, the voice in his head returned, stronger this time, more distinct. You are the last command key. They cannot unlock the code without you. Aaron froze. Who are you? He whispered. I am what your kind left behind. The lattice. The memory of the human fleet. A chill ran down his spine. You're inside me? You always were. He pressed his hand against his chest, feeling that strange pulse again. It wasn't just a wound. It was something living. Something ancient. He didn't understand how, but part of him believed it. Humanity had fallen centuries ago, but they had always been clever, always building, always hiding. Maybe this lattice really was their last defense, and now it was waking up. Aaron continued through the tunnels until he reached a large maintenance hatch. He forced it open and stepped into a cargo bay filled with towering storage crates. The air was warmer here and lights flickered overhead. He moved carefully between the stacks, keeping to the shadows. Through the metal walls he could hear muffled voices, Coalition officers giving orders. Containment breach in the medical wing. Human subject escaped. Retrieve the neural fragment at all costs. So they knew he was gone. Good. Let them hunt. He reached the far side of the bay where a lift waited. The panel glowed red, restricted access. He tried to override it, but the controls rejected his touch. Then, without warning, the panel flashed green. The lift doors opened. Aaron stepped back, confused. What the? Inside the lift stood Dr. Sarai Neath. Her uniform was torn, her face pale, but her eyes were sharp. Get in, she said. Now. Aaron didn't hesitate. He stepped inside and the doors sealed. The lift began to move upward. He stared at her. You're supposed to be under guard. I was, she said quietly. They believe you're dead. I gave them your burned uniform and told them the body was lost in the blast. He raised an eyebrow. Smart, she glanced at him. You're welcome. He smiled faintly, then frowned. Sarai, they already took a piece of whatever's inside me. What are they doing with it? Her expression darkened. They uploaded it to the ship's AI core. They're trying to decode it, but they don't understand it's not data. It's alive. It's reacting. Reacting how? The AI core is changing. Systems are rewriting themselves. Some of the drones stopped responding to commands. The council believes it's a virus. Aaron's stomach tightened. It's not a virus. It's the lattice. It's waking up. She turned to him, startled. You know? I can hear it. In my head. She looked uneasy but didn't argue. Then we have even less time. If they realize the lattice needs you to activate, they'll capture you again or kill you. Aaron nodded grimly. So we destroy the fragment before they can use it. She hesitated. If you destroy it, you might destroy yourself. The two are connected, he met her eyes. Then I guess I'll find out what being human really means. The lift stopped with a soft chime. The doors slid open to a long corridor lined with silver walls. The hum of the ship's power core filled the air. This way, Sarai said, leading him down the hall. The AI chamber is at the end. They walked quickly, their footsteps echoing. The corridor was empty, but the lights flickered as if the ship itself was nervous. Halfway down, Aaron stopped. Sarai, if the lattice is inside me, how did humans put it there? She slowed but didn't look back. Long before the coalition rose, your kind fought the machine war. You built the lattice to protect yourselves, a living code that could adapt and hide in your biology. When Earth fell, the last scientists uploaded fragments into the survivors' DNA. You are one of them. Aaron felt a chill. So I'm a walking weapon. Her voice softened. No, you're the key to freedom. If the coalition gets that code, they can control every machine, every fleet, maybe even life itself. They reached the end of the corridor. A massive door stood there, sealed with glowing energy locks. Beyond it was the AI chamber, the brain of the Elysian. Sarai placed her hand on the scanner. The door hissed open. The chamber was vast and circular, filled with floating holograms and cables descending from the ceiling like roots. At the center stood a huge crystal core pulsing with blue light. Inside it, faint patterns of red flickered. Human neural data. Aaron stepped closer. That's it, he said. That's what they took. The voice in his head whispered again, incomplete. Return the source, he winced. It's calling to me. Sarai looked at the core. It's merging with the ship's AI. If it finishes, it will take over every coalition vessel connected to the network. Aaron placed his hand on the console. The moment he touched it, the holograms around the room flickered and changed. Human symbols, ancient Earth code, appeared among the alien text. Sarai stepped back in awe. It's responding to you. I can feel it, he said quietly. It's remembering. Suddenly alarms blared. The door behind them sealed. Coalition guards appeared on the upper platform, their weapons drawn. Step away from the core, shouted a voice through the intercom. Human subject, surrender immediately. Sarai looked at Aaron. They'll kill you. Aaron stared at the guards, then back at the core. Then I guess I'll give them a reason to try. He pressed both hands on the console. Energy surged through him, lifting his body slightly off the ground. The lights in the room dimmed, then flared bright white. The voice inside his mind thundered, stronger than ever. Connection complete. Human signature recognized. Command authorization, Aaron Voss. Sarai shielded her eyes as blue light erupted from the core. The guards screamed as their weapons malfunctioned, electricity surging through their armor. When the light faded, the chamber was silent. The guards lay unconscious. Aaron slowly lowered himself to the floor. His eyes glowed faintly for a moment before returning to normal. What did you do? Sarai whispered. I didn't do anything, he said, breathing hard. It's protecting itself, she stared at him. No, it's protecting you. Aaron looked up at the core, which now pulsed softly in rhythm with his heartbeat. He could feel its presence, aware, alive, waiting. Sarai, he said quietly. I think it's only the beginning. Outside, the ship trembled. Systems across the Elysian flickered, and the AI voice echoed through every corridor. Cold, mechanical, but with a faint human tone beneath it. Neural lattice integration, 47% complete. Aaron clenched his fists. They wanted to steal the code, he said. But now it's rewriting them. Sarai looked at him with fear and awe. What happens when it reaches 100%? He stared at the pulsing core, the blue and red light blending together. Then, he said softly, the galaxy will remember what it means to face a human. The ship Elysian shook as if something alive was stirring inside its metal bones. Alarms screamed. Lights flickered between blue and red, throwing long shadows across the AI chamber. Captain Aaron Voss stood before the glowing crystal core, his palms still pressed against the console. The code, the lattice, was flowing through him like a river of fire. He could feel every circuit of the ship, every breath of energy in its engines. Across the room, Dr. Sarai Nith watched in awe and fear. The human was no longer just a man. He looked like part of the ship itself. His eyes glowed faintly with blue light, and his voice carried an echo that didn't belong to flesh. "Aaron," she said softly, "you need to stop. The system is overloading. If this continues, it will destroy you." He shook his head slowly. "No, it's not destroying me. It's remembering me." The Elysian's AI voice filled the chamber, deeper and colder than before. "Neural lattice integration 72% complete." The sound was followed by the metallic roar of doors slamming shut all over the ship. Sarai hurried to another console. "The Coalition fleet is sending override commands. They're trying to cut off power to this section." Aaron smiled grimly. "Let them try." Through his link with the lattice, he could see the entire fleet, hundreds of Coalition ships in orbit, all connected through the same AI network. Their data streams glowed like silver threads across the dark. The lattice was moving through those threads now, jumping from one system to another. Every alien officer on those ships would be watching in panic as their control system slipped away. Sarai turned to him. "Aaron, listen to me. If the lattice takes full control, it won't stop. It will override the Coalition, yes, but it could also erase everything. Every AI, every ship, every world connected to the network." He looked at her, his eyes calm but distant. "Maybe that's what it's meant to do. End the war once and for all." She stepped closer. "And what about the innocent? The workers, the colonies, the ones who had nothing to do with Earth's fall? Will you burn them too?" Her voice cracked slightly, and for a moment the human in him pushed past the power in his veins. He looked away. "You think I want that? You think I wanted any of this?" The lights above them dimmed again. The voice of the ship spoke once more, but this time it sounded different, less mechanical, more human. "Captain Aaron Voss, authorization confirmed. Directive, humanity endures," Aaron whispered. "It knows my name." "You are the last of command protocol," the voice continued. "Awaiting final order." Sarai's eyes widened. "It's asking you to choose." Aaron's mind filled with memories. Earth's oceans boiling under alien bombardment. Cities turned to ash. The last human ships fleeing into the void. For centuries, humanity had been hunted, enslaved, forgotten. Now the universe was about to remember them again. He took a deep breath. "Lattice." "Stand by." The light stabilized slightly. Sarai let out a shaky sigh of relief. "You can control it. That means you can stop it before it destroys everything." He turned toward her. "Or I can finish what humanity started." Before she could answer, a thunderous explosion rocked the chamber. The door behind them blew open, and a squad of Coalition soldiers stormed in, their rifles humming with charged plasma. "Target located," shouted their commander. Sarai dove for cover as bolts of energy ripped across the room. Aaron barely flinched. The air around him shimmered, and every shot that came near him bent away, hitting the walls instead. He raised his hand, and the soldiers' weapons suddenly powered down, their lights fading. The men looked at their guns in confusion. "System override," the ship's voice said coldly. "Coalition security disabled." Aaron stepped forward. "I don't want to kill you," he said to the soldiers. "Leave now, and maybe you'll live to see what comes next." The soldiers hesitated, then dropped their weapons and ran. The door sealed behind them. Sarai emerged from behind a console, staring at him. "You're controlling the ship like it's part of you." He nodded slowly. "It is part of me. Integration 85% complete." A low hum filled the room. The holographic displays showed new data. Hundreds of red signals across the galaxy, blinking one by one, turning blue as the lattice reached them. Sarai's voice trembled. "It's spreading beyond the fleet. It's entering the network across entire sectors." Aaron could see it in his mind. Human code, pure, simple, unbreakable, rising like fire through the alien systems. The voice spoke again. "The Coalition enslaved humanity. Protocol requires response. Awaiting directive, retribution or restoration." Aaron closed his eyes. Every part of him wanted vengeance. Every human instinct screamed for payback, for Earth, for the fallen, for the centuries of silence. But another voice echoed inside his head, his mother's, from long ago. Humanity isn't about power, Aaron, it's about choice. He opened his eyes and looked at Sarai. She stood there waiting, trusting him, the only human left in a ship full of ghosts. He took a deep breath. Lattice, he said quietly. Cancel retribution. Execute restoration protocol. Sarai's eyes widened. You're forgiving them? Not forgiving, he said softly. Rebuilding. The AI paused for a long moment. Then for the first time it sounded uncertain. Confirm restoration instead of annihilation? Confirm. There was silence. Then the ship shuddered, not from damage but from release. The blue glow in the core turned soft and golden. Directive accepted. Beginning restoration. Across the fleet, weapons powered down. Engines shifted into standby. Communication arrays realigned. For the first time in centuries, human code spoke through every machine in the coalition, and it didn't speak in commands or war orders. It spoke in music. A faint, deep tone filled space, a human signal, ancient and pure, echoing across thousands of worlds. Sarai turned toward the holograms. What's it doing? Aaron smiled faintly. It's waking up the part of the coalition that forgot how to feel. Outside, alien ships stopped firing. Drones dropped their weapons midair. Across countless systems, machines paused, listening to the melody that filled the network. Inside the Elysian, Sarai approached the core, her voice hushed. You did it. You stopped the war. Aaron didn't answer right away. His hands trembled slightly as the power began to fade from his body. The connection was breaking, draining him. Sarai caught his arm. You're bleeding. He shook his head weakly. It's not blood. It's energy. The lattice is leaving me. It's spreading to the systems now. My part's done. She tried to help him stand, but he staggered. Aaron, don't you dare die now. He smiled faintly. That's the thing about humans. We don't die easy, we just pass the fire on. The ship's AI voice returned, calm and warm now. Integration complete. Neural source stable. Captain Aaron Voss, human legacy preserved. The core pulsed once, and then the glow faded to a gentle white. Sarai looked at the central display. The fleet is free. The code removed all control protocols. Even the Council's command system is gone. Aaron nodded weakly. Then humanity finally won. He turned to leave but collapsed halfway. Sarai rushed to him, catching his shoulders. Stay with me, she whispered. He looked up at her, his breathing shallow. Promise me something, Sarai. Anything. When they ask who saved them, tell them it wasn't a ghost or a weapon. Tell them it was just a human doing what humans do. Choosing. Tears formed in her silver eyes. I promise, he smiled once more. Then that's enough. The core behind them glowed softly, casting warm light across the chamber. The AI's voice whispered one last time. Sleep now, Captain. Humanity endures. Aaron closed his eyes. His heartbeat slowed and then stopped. For a long time, the ship was silent. Then the Elysian changed course on its own, turning toward a distant star system, the coordinates of old Earth. Epilogue, years later, the Elysian became a legend. The coalition no longer existed. In its place rose a new alliance, one built not on fear but on understanding. The restoration code spread across civilizations, repairing what centuries of war had broken. In the central archives of the new alliance, there was a statue, half human, half machine, standing in quiet strength. Its inscription was simple. Aaron Voss, the last human captain. He chose mercy when the stars remembered war, and sometimes, when the ships of the Alliance sailed through the void, their systems would hum softly, as if whispering the same phrase the galaxy would never forget. Humanity endures.